I think an argument can be made that we have a Mossad agent in charge of the day-to-day operations of the Obama sock puppet regime in the White House. And that, of course, is one Rahm Emanuel. Wherever the evil consciousness is coming from, David, wherever the ugliness, the death, the genocide, the manipulation is ultimately coming from, there are a couple, but there is one particular group we call Zionists, which seem to manifest that evil and that control with a ruthlessness that few others can even conceive of unless they've seen it or read about it or experienced it firsthand. I do have that YouTube video up in Featured Stories, which shows an AIPAC Zionist attacking a group of real Jews on the streets of New York. Do remember that not all Jews are Zionists, and not all Zionists are Jews. In fact, the largest Zionist congregation here in the States, no pun intended, is the Christian Zionist element here. But it's an interesting thing to see how labels are used and confusion is sown amongst the masses, when in reality we have a very, very, very tiny group. You mentioned there are 6.5 billion of us, and literally a couple of tens of thousands of them really pulling the strings and controlling the primary arterial flow of the life's blood of our society and our civilization. Any thoughts on Zionism as a secular political engine of control and subjugation, David?
Well, I think this is a vital point, and in many ways it's the elephant in the living room that people won't look at because they fear being called racist. Let's put this into perspective and put some real labels on this rather than the fake ones. Zionism is nothing in truth to do with Jewish people as a whole. Nothing to do with them. And you're quite right, there are many Jewish groups that challenge Zionism. We perceive Israel to be about Jewish people. It's not. Actually, it's about the abuse of Jewish people, if anything. What these things are, Zionism and Israel, are fronts and expressions of the House of Rothschild. And the House of Rothschild are fundamentally involved in this global manipulation right down into the level of the spider at the center of the web. And if you follow the story, you've got the Rothschilds manipulating events in Germany that brought about the Second World War, being behind the scenes in the whole creation of the Nazi movement. You've got the Rothschilds being involved in funding the early settlers into Israel, being behind the terrorist groups that bombed Israel into being in 1948. Mm-hmm. The father of Rahm Emanuel, of course, was involved in one of them called Ergun. And Zionism is not about benefiting Jewish people. In fact, Jewish people as a whole have suffered massively over the years from the behavior of those that claim to stand for them. So what Israel is a state of Rothschild. It's something that allows what they wanted, which is the destabilization of the Middle East. And Zionism is the Rothschild agenda, which of course is the Illuminati agenda. So when you see all these Zionists, and it is quite staggering to see how many that are running the Obama regime and are in other positions of power around the world, massively in excess of their percentage of the global population. We can get diverted into it's the Jews and all that stuff. And if we do that, talking about Jewish people as a whole, we're going to lose the plot. This is about the Rothschilds and Rothschilds' agents working under the name of Zionism. Now, what they've done, and they've done it very well because they know how to manipulate, they have equated Zionism with Jewish people as a whole, and therefore when you expose the number of Zionists in key positions of power, then you're called a racist. Frankly, I couldn't care less what people call me. I'm interested in the truth, not winning a popularity contest. And if you look at the Obama administration, you've got Rahm Emanuel, son of a terrorist in Israel, who is the 24/7 minder of Obama. David Axelrod, chief White House advisor and the man who ran Obama's election campaigns. Avid Zionist who is controlling the words that the president, the fake president, reads from his teleprompter. When you look at the people that manipulated the engineered financial crash, people like Alan Greenspan, head of the Federal Reserve from the Reagan-Bush era right the way through to most of Boy Bush, a Zionist. And then you look at the people take the next stage, when he left the Federal Reserve just after his massive deregulation of the financial industry allowed the free-for-all to take place, and just before it crashed, he got out. In come Bernard Bernanke, another Zionist. Then you've got the economic team that Obama brought in. Tim Geithner, the Treasury Secretary, a former employee of the notorious Kissinger Associates and the Council on Foreign Relations, Zionist, and a man who was head of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, which was fundamentally involved in the situation that brought about the engineered crash. Obama brought in Larry Summers, former Clinton Treasury Secretary, now head of the White House Economic Council, avid Zionist. Peter Orszag, the budget director, Zionist. He was the head of a consultancy organization that advised the Icelandic Central Bank in the run-up to the Icelandic financial crash.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was Orszag who advised the Russian Treasury when they were handing state assets to Zionist oligarchs like this man in Britain, Roman Abramovich, who's famous for owning a football club called Chelsea. When that was going on, the current budget director was advising the Russian Treasury. You've got Robert Zoellick, and another American Zionist who's head of the World Bank. You've got Dominic Strauss-Kahn, another Zionist, head of the International Monetary Fund.
Hold on, David, right there. Let's pick it up in just a minute. Hold that thought. A litany of Zionism that is almost endless. It's all there, folks. Facts are facts. We'll be back.